Welcome to the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. UFC 310 went down in Las Vegas. Final numbered card of the year, and it was absolutely sensational. We're going to give you a full uncaged review with myself and Brendan Loughnane on the channel. So make sure you like and subscribe. However, in the immediate aftermath, I couldn't help but jump on and get stuck into at least 3 narratives that have come off that main card. Get stuck into the comment section, let me know what you think about the event, and let me know what you think of what should happen next with some of the winners from UFC 310. Let's get stuck in. First up, main event, Flyweight title was on the line. Alexandre Pantoja defended his crown by submitting Kaya Sakura in the second round. He was absolutely sensational. Pantoja doing Pantoja things, front foot, coming forward, in your face. Absolutely relentless. Asakura looked massive, didn't he? Some of the creativity with his striking, the jumping knees, the big strikes from right across the other side of the octagon. Sensational stuff, but not enough to topple the current flyweight king. And I refer to him as a king because that's exactly what it is. He's got 3 title defenses as Alexandre Pantoja right now, but he's wiped out the whole division. Look down the resume, look who he's fought. Out of that top 10, he has beaten the who's who. And he's not just beaten them once. He's beaten them on multiple occasions. He is currently lapping the division. He is running out of competition. And that's why he gets on the microphone in the immediate aftermath of the win and calls out the flyweight GOAT. Yes, Mighty Mouse himself, Demetrius Johnson. Now, DJ, he's 38 years of age and he is happily retired. He's taken to social media already and said, listen lads, I've been offered $2 million to come out of retirement and I turned it down. It ain't for me. I ain't fighting again. And us as fans, knowing DJ as we do, kind of believe that. I don't think there's any real amount of money that would tempt him back to the octagon. But competition might. He might look at a Pantoja and think to himself, do you know something? This guy's doing some special stuff. He's wiped out a division. Maybe I could come back and just prove one more time that I am who I say I am. And with the way that Pantoja's taking care of this flyweight division, I'm not against it. Normally I'd be like, come on, leave it. Let's look for some fresh talent. Let's look for some fresh meat. That was that era. Let's look to the new era. But he's wiped it out. So if the UFC were to make an unbelievable financial offer to Demetrius Johnson and maybe dangle the carrot of some type of level of competition that Pantoja is, which I think is there for us all to see, hopefully it would tempt DJ to come back and have one more go inside the UFC octagon, because then it is quite sparse when you're looking around for competition for Pantoja. You're probably going to look in 2025 at the likes of Brandon Moreno coming back through again off the back of a great performance against Amir Al-Bazi. You need somebody else to stick their head above the parapet and come again, but it's people that he's already fought previously. If it's not going to be DJ, the UFC have to go out and acquire elite flyweight competition. A few years ago, this division was on its backside when DJ was the king. Henry Cejudo came along, breathed new life into it, and caught all our imagination. Since then, we've had the likes of the Davison Figueiredos, the Brandon Morenos, the Royval came through, and now Pantoja is the king, of course. We need meat for Pantoja to fight against. Here's an idea, and it would mean a little bit of backtracking. It would mean maybe swallowing your pride a little bit with something. There is a certain British fighter that came to the UFC, was undefeated through all of his fights, finished at least half of them, and can sell when he gets a microphone in his face. I am, of course, referring to Mohamed Mokaev. I know it ended a little bit weird. The fans are up in arms. Mokaev is absolutely worthy of bouncing straight back into the UFC and fighting Alexandre Pantoja. Pantoja's recognised him as a top talent. He was undefeated during his tenure in the UFC with finishes on there as well. He's exciting on the microphone. Okay, the last time he fought, it might not necessarily have been an exciting fight, but I think Pantoja will bring out the best in him. If we can't get the DJ fight, then the UFC have to go back to Mokaev and ask him to come and dance again. What do you reckon? 2025, Pantoja, Mokaev for the UFC flyweight title. The second talking point from UFC 310 comes from the co-main event. Shavkat Rakhmonov gets the decision victory over Garry. The finishing streak is now over, but he marches on as an undefeated fighter. And we kind of know what's happening next for Shavkat. We saw the face-off, didn't we, where Belal Muhammad weirdly got inside the octagon after Joe Rogan had to persuade the security to allow Belal in there to face off with the Nomad himself. That's going to happen probably in the first quarter of 2025, and it's absolutely the fight that should happen. That fight between Shavkat and Ian was a title eliminator. The winner has to go on to fight Belal. That is next up for the welterweight title. Ian's performance, though, against Shavkat kind of makes me second guess what I originally thought would happen in that title fight. I thought that Shavkat would walk in there and absolutely destroy Belal. But having watched Ian just pick holes in Shavkat's game, make Shavkat do things that he didn't necessarily want to do all of the time, it kind of levels that fight out for me. I think it's super competitive. Belal has proven in beating Leon Edwards that he's one of the very, very best on the planet right now, and he could neutralise the offence of Shavkat and ask him some serious questions in the wrestling department as well. So I'm looking forward to that fight first and foremost in the welterweight division. The talking point that I want to flip your way and see what you think about this comes off the back of Ian Machado Garry, because I thought he was brilliant. And if we're really, really honest, if you look at the way that MMA fights are scored, if you look at the 5 rounds that we saw, I think it's quite easy to score 3 of those rounds, probably 4, and then you've got 1 round that is decided on 1 significant strike. And I'm referring to the first round. If you actually go back and watch that, and I have like a geek already, not a lot of stuff happens. Shavkat, with all due respect to him, wanted no business of Ian Garry at range. He wanted to close that distance. He wanted to get in nice and tight, have him up against the fence and grapple with him. But Ian's wrestling defence was absolutely sensational. So it kind of nullified the fight for large periods, especially in that first round. And it's only on the break, with 30 seconds of the first round remaining, that Shavkat land that lovely overhand right on Ian's whiskers. And it's that strike alone that wins him that first round. I think the second round goes to Shavkat. Ian wins the third. Then we see some serious quality wrestling takedown from Shavkat, where he attacks the legs rather than the upper body for the first time in the fight. And then Ian, of course, was fishing for those chokes in the 5th round, and he takes the final phase. So 3-2, absolutely fair on the scorecards. But from Ian's point of view, he has proven that he is one of the elite welterweights on the planet. And he was literally 1 strike away from defeating the undefeated Shavkat Rakhmonov. His stock actually rises in this loss, of which then creates a lot of conversations as to what happens next for the future. Right, here's my suggestion. We've seen recently that Leon Edwards has been talking about coming back in March, main event, UFC London. There's loads of suitable names in that pot. I listed them all on a video on my own podcast a couple of weeks ago. Ian Machado Garry is the front runner. Off the back of that performance from Shavkat, Ian Garry, Leon Edwards makes an awful lot of sense. Main event in London, the crowd will be pumping, the crowd will be jumping for that fight. And with Belal and Shavkat going at it for the title, you have to say that Leon versus Ian would be a very suitable title eliminator. The winner of that fight will go on to fight the winner of Belal versus Shavkat for the welterweight world championship. That is the fight to make. Let me know what you think. The final talking point from UFC 310 comes in their heavyweight division. Ciryl Gane gets the nod on a split decision over Alexander Volkov, something that I completely disagree with given the way that that fight played out. 2 of the judges have scored it 2-1 in favour of Ciryl, and the other judge has scored it 2-1 in favour of Alexander Volkov. The third judge has got it right. I thought the first round only just went to Ciryl Gane. Then it's the Alexander Volkov show. Those 2 judges need to go back to judging school and read up on the scoring criteria. We are looking for clean, effective work. The key word being effective. What is having the most amount of effect on the other person? Alexander Volkov's striking in the second round is clean, it's effective, it's causing damage. We saw a little leg wobble with the spinning back fist, didn't we? Come on. Volkov won that fight. You've got to feel for him, because that decision that they have made is going to knock him back a couple of fights before he can get back in to the mix. Ciryl Gane in victory doesn't really come out of it in any type of glory because every single fan has seen what has played out. The only winner from the Cyril Gane-Alexander Volkov fight is John Jones. Listen to me on this. Watching that fight, the UFC need John Jones, Tom Aspinall more than ever. What we wanted from Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov is someone to stick their head above the parapet, do something fantastic, create a viral moment, get the fans' tongues wagging, and create a little bit of excitement in the heavyweight division. There's this real bottleneck after Tom Aspinall and John Jones as to who is the next. Where's the runners and riders? Who is going to be the next challenger to the heavyweight title? Well, I suppose we kind of put all of that on Cyril Gane, given the fact that he's been the interim champion before, he's challenged John Jones, and there's this thing that he's running with him and Tom Aspinall. Could he step up? Could he put on a performance? And could he show those improvements that we've all been crying out for since he was defeated by Jones? I know he's bounced back and beaten Spivak since, but you know what I'm saying. It didn't work out. We had 15 minutes of a good start, and then Volkov taking over, and then controversy on the cards. It's a bad one, because now John Jones has leverage. He can sit on his chair at home. When that phone rings, he goes, you now need that fight even more. Stick another couple of million on that paycheck, and we'll do the dance next summer. Fingers crossed, that is the fight that we do get next in the heavyweight division. But as for this card, these judges need to give their head a wobble. They have taken away Alexander Volkov's next opportunity. And that next opportunity might have been a title fight, you know. We don't know how all this is going to play out. They got that wrong. He won the second round, and for me, won the fight. There you have it. Little bit of a brief, instant reaction to UFC 310. Myself and Brendan Loughnane are going to get together to get stuck into that a little bit more extensively. We've got a couple of, let's say, veteran fighters that came up short at UFC 310. Should they be retiring next? What next for some of those that put in some sensational performances? We'll break it down for you on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Action-packed from start to finish. Action-packed all week. It is the place to be. Go and get yourself involved in that channel. Get stuck into the comments with some of the suggestions that I've just made. And I'll catch you on Uncaged tomorrow. This is Uncaged on talkSPORT with myself, Adam Catterall, and British MMA legend, Brendan Loughnane. It does not get bigger than this. I've said to him, we're going to go red panties, man. We are going to go all the way in. Tune in to our show every week for the biggest debates.
You're a bona fide world champion in a major promotion. Sat there now, off the top of your head, can you tell me the criteria for judging MMA? Right off the top of your head.
Not a clue. No, I'm being serious.
You're holding up the division. This is the UFC. The best are supposed to be fighting the best. We're not here just to massage people's egos. The baddest interviews.
Deontay Wilder, is he someone you'd like to fight?
Absolutely, I would love that fight.
You can't help but be impressed with what Alex Pereira's done over the past couple of years. I absolutely want to fight him. If that's what the UFC want to do one day, then we'll absolutely do it.
And to keep up with everything in the world of MMA. So head over to the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel to keep up to date with all the latest news and interviews. And whilst you're there, give us a like and follow. We're not here to take part, my friend.
Here to take over.
That's the one.